Welcome to your Chapter 7 overview video, Secular Song and National Styles in the 16th Century. Your learning objectives are number 1, to describe the principal styles and genres of 16th century secular vocal music. Number 2, to identify some of the major composers of the 16th century. And number 3, to identify the characteristics of national schools of secular vocal composition in the 16th century. In the 16th century, music was not only a service provided by musicians, but also a commodity sold in its printed form. Musical amateurs from the upper classes and literate urban middle classes created a demand for notated music that they could perform for their own enjoyment. The combination of this demand and music printing created the first market for music. Amateurs sought music in their own language, reinforcing the growth of national genres and styles. In Italy, two types of native song prevailed when the northerners arrived, the fratella and lauda. The plurals fratol and laud. Both were strophic, four-part homophonic songs with refrains, with the melody in the upper voice, simple diatonic harmonies, and words set syllabically. Written for the aristocracy, the fratella was a mock popular song. Laud, performed at semi-public gatherings of the faithful, were religious and devotional. Marco Cara, from 1465 to 1525, was among the best-known composers of fratelle. Later in the century, composers in Italy cultivated other types of light secular song. The canzone, villanesca, peasant song, or villanella for three voices, was a lively, light homophonic strophic piece. The canzonetta, a little song, and the balletto also gained prominence. The balletto was intended for dancing as well as singing, and its typical fa-la-la refrains later made their way into English songs. The villancico was the most prominent form of secular polyphonic song in Renaissance Spain. Cultivated by the aristocracy, villancicos were strophic, syllabic, and mostly homophonic. The villancico always included a refrain and one or more stanzas with the principal melody in the top voice. The other voices may have been sung or played on instruments. Juan del Encina, from 1468 to 1529, was the leading composer of villancicos. The madrigal was the most important Italian secular genre of the 16th century. Composers sought to enrich the meaning of the text through the music and developed new means of expression and drama that helped to make Italy the leader of European music for the first time. Composers frequently chose texts by major poets, and the subject matter was often sentimental or erotic with pastoral references. The rise of the madrigal was linked to renewed interest in the poetry and ideals of the 14th century Italian poet Petrarch, who lived from 1304 to 1373. Scholars like Pietro Bembo, 1470 to 1547, noted the sonic values of Petrarch's poetry. Like the villancico and fratella, the madrigal was a through-composed setting of various types of Italian poetry without refrains. A variety of homophonic and contrapuntal textures with voices of equal importance conveyed the text. The earliest madrigals were for four voices, and those around mid-century were typically for five voices. Madrigals were composed for one voice per part, but instruments could be used in performance. These secular works were performed chiefly for the enjoyment of the singers themselves. Madrigals were also used in plays and after about 1570 performed by professionals. Most notable of these was the ensemble Concerto del Donne, Ensemble of Ladies, a trio of trained singers. Jacques Arcadelt, from 1507 to 1568, a Franco-Flemish composer, worked in Florence and Rome. He blended homophony with occasional imitative entrances and witty effects as evident in Il Bianco e Dolce Signo, the White and Sweet Song. The madrigals of Cipriano de Rohr, 1516 to 1565, the leading madrigalist at mid-century, reflect his interest in humanism. Rohr and his contemporaries used chromaticism for expressive purposes, and theorists approved, citing the ancient Greeks. The leading madrigalists toward the end of the century were native Italians. Chief among these was Luca Marenzio, 1553 to 1599. He is known for madrigals depicting contrasting feelings and visual details. Striking musical images that evoke the text almost literally have come to be called madrigalisms. Composer and theorist Nicola Vicentino, from 1511 to 1576, proposed reviving the chromatic and inharmonic genera of Greek music. His ideas influenced the aristocratic composer Carlo Gesualdo, 1561 to 1613. He intensified the poetry through sharp contrasts in harmony, texture, and rhythm, and is known for his use of chromaticism. The madrigal had a special place in the career of Claudio Monteverdi, 1567 to 1643. Of Monteverdi's 8 books of madrigals, the first 5, published between 1587 and 1605, are monuments in the history of the polyphonic madrigal. Monteverdi demonstrated remarkable expressive power through his smooth combination of homophonic and contrapuntal part writing, his sensitivity to the sound and meaning of the text, and his free use of chromaticism and dissonance. During the first half of the 16th century, composers cultivated a new type of chanson that was syllabic, mostly homophonic, usually strophic, and generally light-hearted. Pierre Attainant, 1494 to 1552, published about 1,500 of these popular chansons, which were intended for amateur singers. The 2 principal composers of this type of chansons were Claudin de Sermisy, 1490 to 1562, whose chansons were popular for decades, and Clement Genequin, 1485 to 1560, who wrote many kinds of chansons, but was known especially for his descriptive chansons. The new homophonic chanson appeared alongside the more traditional contrapuntal chanson. Lassus was always acutely attuned to the text and made sure that the music fit its rhythm, reflected its imagery, and conveyed the appropriate feelings. Italian culture became fashionable in England during the late 16th century, and Italian madrigals translated into English, such as those in Musica Transalpina, 1588, were sung in homes. Many native composers wrote new madrigals as well. Thomas Morley, 1557 or 58 to 1602, wrote English madrigals, canzonets, and ballets. Morley published a madrigal collection called The Triumphs of Oriana in honor of Anna of Denmark. Thomas Weelkes, 1575 to 1623, was among the leading English madrigalists, known for his use of word painting. Although English secular polyphonic songs were intended for unaccompanied solo voices, they were also performed in combination with instruments. The lute song, or air, a solo song with lute accompaniment, became more prominent shortly after 1600, but waned in the 1620s. Generally, singers accompanied themselves when performing lute songs. The lute part was notated in tablature. John Dowland, 1563 to 1626, was one of the leading composers of lute songs. For your Chapter 7 25-question quiz, I would know the following. Know about the musical shift. Know about the general shift in musical life in the 16th century. See page 125. Know about the frottala, the madrigal, the lotta, the balletto, the chanson, the villancico. Know about Baldassare Castiglione's claim about the Book of Courtier. See page 126. Know about King Ferdinand and Queen Elizabeth. Page 127. Know about Juan del Encino. Know about the work of the poet Petrarch. Know about the form of the different types of compositions. Know about performance culture of madrigals. See page 129 through 130. Know about the Concerto del Don, 129. Know about Cipriana de Rohr. See 130. Know about chromaticism. Know about Luca Marenzo. Know what a madrigalism is. Know about Gioseffo Zarlino and intervals. Know about Niccolo Vincentino. Know about Carlo Gesualdo. Know about Claudio Monteverdi. Know about 16th century French chansons. Know about Sir Missy. Know about Orlando de Lassus. Know about the influence of Italy on England. Know about Thomas Morley, and know about lute songs. I have a funny picture of a statue paying tribute to Orlando de Lassus, but the statue is across the street from the hotel that Michael Jackson used to stay at, and this was the infamous hotel where Michael Jackson held the baby out over the balcony. And as you can see from this picture, it's just as much a statue for Michael Jackson as it is Orlando de Lassus.